Hello. Welcome to my channel Touching Stories. You're about to hear an amazing story about love and unexpected decisions. Enjoy watching.
Don't pass by. Try your luck, urged an elderly man with a little monkey on his shoulder. Just $1 and you'll know everything about your destiny. $1 is so little, but destiny is a lifetime. Some stopped and for $1 asked to be photographed with the monkey. Others smiled at the naive speeches of the man. Others were amused by the monkey, but there were those, mostly women and girls, who still pulled out the fateful ticket from the spinning drum. BT, the man turned to his assistant. Well, how to spin the drum, but so that the beautiful girl pulled out a happy fate. The monkey spun the drum. Through the transparent glass, it was visible how different destinies in multicolored papers were spinning in a mesmerizing dance. Then Betty stopped the drum, opened a window in it, and the fate was in the hands of the person who bought it for $1. When a group of young men, for fun, pulled out the tickets, they immediately unfolded them, read them aloud to each other, discussed the fates, and laughed loudly. Youth, the man admired the boys and girls. Carelessness, they don't believe in fate. Everything seems funny to them in life. It is not so funny as it seems in youth. It's all right. Let them laugh when they're young. They won't laugh so much later. Lonely girls and women came up. These with excitement and trembling pulled out their fateful ticket, went aside, sat down on a bench and unfolded the paper. Some smiled at what was written on the paper, got up from the bench and turning their shoulders, boldly stepped towards their happy future. Others frowned and the hope that had just flickered in their eyes faded. They slouched even more and wanted to be invisible. Jack came up with his own lyrics to write on the colorful tickets. Mostly, he leaned toward making people happy, so he wrote about good things, but, as opposed to happy fates, there has to be that but. Everyone can't be happy, and that's the truth. There is more happiness in Jack's transparent drum than in life, but he liked it so much when a woman got up from the bench, smiled, and already happy went to meet the hardships of life. Sophia had seen this uncle with a monkey many times and thought that it was just a way to earn money, nothing more, and that what was written in those papers should not be believed. She always went from work or to work, through the park, so this sweet couple were familiar to her. She even began to greet the older man and smile in amusement at Betty's mischief. What's the big deal here? The man beckons, jokes with people, some give in to the entreaties, buy a ticket, laugh paper fate in the face, and continue on their way. The monkey is funny, and Sophia often sat down on the bench opposite this couple and watched the non-boy trade of fate. And today it's spring, and the kind of spring that makes you not want to hide in your apartment. She sat down on the bench, the soft warmth of the sun's rays caressing the skin of her face and a gentle breeze ruffling her loose hair. Sophia covered her eyes and smiled at the spring. It felt so good. "Girl," someone shouted. She didn't know if it was her, but just in case, she opened her eyes and turned to the voice. "Yes, I'm calling you," shouted Jack. The monkey on his shoulder fidgeted and began to make noises. "Come." It's uncomfortable to shout. They're already looking at me. "Come, people dear," Jack appealed to those who turned to his voice. "Try your luck, your fate. The ticket is only $1, and everyone's life and destiny is different. So don't be shy. It's only $1. Sophia approached the uncle when he was giving fate to a lady of Balzac age. "Madam, my Betty only gives out beautiful and happy fortunes to the ladies." The lady grudgingly smiled at Jack and said, "I need 2 tickets. "Why?" Jack was surprised. "Because everyone has only one destiny." "Because," replied the lady sharply, "I want to know the fate of my goat." "Why do you want to know the fate of your goat?" Jack was even more surprised. The lady laughed. "You thought the goat was just a goat? No, it's my ex-husband. I want to see how he's doing without me." The lady slipped Jack $200. "Betty," Jack called to his partner, "spin the drum." "Don't," stopped him. "I can't trust my fate to a monkey. I'll spin the drum myself." The lady spun the drum, and Jack and Sophia waited patiently for the action to stop. Unfolding the pink ticket, the lady read it and smiled wryly. "Is everything all right with your fate?" Jack inquired. "It says, Be kind and fortune will turn to you and destiny will be more favorable to you. Let's see, said the lady and ate her fortune ticket. Jack's eyebrows jumped up. He had never seen anything like this before, and Sophia smiled at the naivety of this aunt. For the goat, let him spin the drum and get the fortune monkey, the lady commanded. Beatty jumped on the drum, spun it, and pulled out a gray ticket. Gray fate, the aunt said angrily. Gray he will remain. She took the ticket and read it. What is this nonsense? Said the lady indignantly. That's bullshit. What's it say? Jack was curious. It's all bullshit. Don't look back or you'll fall and never get up. Go only forward, and then fate will give you incredible happiness. And this to a goat who doesn't deserve any happiness. Be kinder, Jack reminded his aunt. She gave him a hateful look, threw the crumpled gray ticket at the monkey, and walked away. How can you not believe my tickets? Jack said. Fate gave her a clue. Be kinder, and she still has poison dripping from her tongue. Why don't you come up to me and Betty? He said to Sophia. It's time we met. I'm Jack. And what's your name, pretty lady? Sophia, answered the girl, and she blushed. That's a beautiful name. Sophia means wise. And the name is beautiful, and you are beautiful, my child. But why don't you bypass old Jack and try your luck? I'm afraid, Sophia confessed. I'm in a great place, you know. Sometimes I can't believe people can be as happy as I am. Then why should you be afraid if fate favors you? I'll tell you a secret, dear girl Sophia. A person can't always be happy. There are happy moments that we remember, and then we live them. Strive for what we have already experienced, but often aspirations are in vain. Duh? That's so sad. Why so sad? Sophia asked. I will hope you are wrong, Jack. What's your middle name? Just Jack. Apostle Jack is not called by his patronymic, so I don't have to be. But you're not an apostle, Sophia smiled. Or are you? I don't know who I am. I used to be a violinist in the orchestra, and now I'm trading in fate. Smile, Jack. I'm giving you fate, Sophia, for free. It's a gift from me and Betty, so try your luck. Take a ticket. Betty, spin the drum, ordered Jack to the monkey, and spin it so that for Sophia this gift really turned out to be a gift. Well, Sophia opened a window in the drum. Jack, welcome to destiny. I have $1. Here, take it. The girl held out the money. I told you it was a gift. I'm afraid to torture fate. Let Betty give me a ticket. The monkey took out a ticket, jumped on Sophia's shoulder, and handed her a green envelope. Sophia unfolded the piece of paper and read, Run from the man who for today, the most important in your life, for trouble, and without him rainbow happiness ahead, peace of mind and confidence in tomorrow. Sophia shuddered and flung the ticket away as if it were a poisonous snake about to burrow into her. I wasn't afraid for nothing, she grieved. It wasn't true. Everything in the note isn't true. You don't realize how much we love each other, how happy we are. I'll never, you hear me, Jack? I'll never run away from Archie. A love like ours is 1 in a million. Spring and summer will pass, fall will come, and he'll be back from the army, and I'll be waiting for him. Do you understand? Tears came to Sophia's eyes. She spoke angrily and sharply to Jack. People paused and watched what was happening. From the outside, you could think that the father and daughter something to find out, so no one interfered in the conversation between Jack and Sophia. Quietly, my girl, quietly, Jack put his arm around Sophia and stroked her head. She snuggled her face into his chest and cried. Her thin shoulders shuddered and Jack continued to whisper, Don't cry, Sophia. It's just a paper fate, a $1 fate. Everything's gonna be all right. You don't know anything, sobbed Sophia. I don't know, agreed Jack. He poured tea from the thermos into a mug and handed it to Sophia. Here, drink this, baby, and everything will go away. It's peppermint tea with lemon. It's so soothing and refreshing. Sophia drank the tea in short sips and shuddered. Thank you for the tea. She handed Jack the empty mug. I have to go home. Goodbye. Goodbye, sweet child, Jack said sadly. I'm sorry I upset you. It's not true, is it? Sophia asked with hope in her voice. Let's hope it's not true, Jack replied. Sophia walked slowly out of the park, and Jack and the frightened monkey looked at her. Too bad for the girl, Jack thought. The other would have laughed at such a fate, would have taken it for entertainment, but Sophia reacted so violently, so unexpectedly. The girl's psyche must be in trouble. How long Jack trades in fate. So young people always have fun after reading this opus and hearing tears and accusations and hope for love, which is one in a million. Poor girl. Sophia was in such a good mood, and this non-apostle Jack ruined it. There's no way she's gonna believe she has to run away from Archie. Yesterday, Sophia got a letter from him, and it was so tender and warm. She read it and will read it every day until the next letter. Was she in her right mind to run away from such love? No one in her life Sophia loved as much as Archie except her little brother Donut, Harry. And they called him Donut because he was so fat, fluffy, and kind. And she wanted to hug him and to protect him from everyone, from the shitty life in which he and Harry lived, from the always drunken father, from the angry, always yelling mother. Donut is only 9 years old and his hands are already trembling. He often cries, and when his mother and father get into arguments, he squeezes his eyes shut, covers his ears with his palms, and squeezes against Sophia. "Stop it," shouts Sophia to her parents, but they, continuing their eternal war, do not hear her daughter's desperate cry. Harry looks pitifully at Sophia and pleads, "Sophia, don't scream, don't, I'm afraid." Then Sophia took her brother by the hand and they went outside. Here you can't hear shouting and swearing. There are other noises that calm Donut down a bit. They walk late into the night until his father falls asleep. Then his mother calms down, starts cooking, angrily rattling the dishes, and that's when he and Harry come home. But it's when it's summer or spring outside and you can't walk for a long time in the cold, then they go to the other side of town to their grandmother and stay at her place overnight. It doesn't happen often. Sophia feels sorry for Grandma because Grandma gets upset, cries, and Harry's hand starts shaking again. He feels sorry for Donut, sorry for Grandma, and sorry for himself too. When Archie comes back from the army, they will get married and take Harry with them because at home you can go crazy. Sometimes Sophia thought she was really going crazy. Why did she and Harry have to live such a horrible life? Archie had a real family, friendly, Father Gob, a retired lieutenant colonel, strict. But Sophia had never heard that in the family of her favorite Archie, raised their voices, yelling and hating each other. Lucy, Archie's mother, that in general, such a woman on whom Sophia wanted to look up to, always well-groomed, calm. The house is in perfect order and cooks deliciously. She rarely sees Archie's brother because he is studying at a military aviation school and is hardly ever at home. Gob insisted on Archie's enrollment in the aviation school, but Archie does not want to be a military man, does not want to go all his life under the visor and unconditional obedience. He said that he was a free person. He had seen the nomadic life of his parents, so he did not want such a life for himself. And Archie wanted to be a driver, a chauffeur, to less often face the bosses. And as soon as his parents did not convince him, did not persuade him that their family is intelligent and son should follow in the footsteps of his father. But Archie answered them, "Nobody and nothing I do not owe I will serve. I will pay my debt to the motherland, and then you only saw me, you will not have to blush for the son of a laborer." It seemed to Sophia that Archie's parents loved her because they treated her kindly, asked her about her life, about her family, and she frankly told them everything. One day, Lucy asked her if she was thinking of studying further, because being a chef was a hard job and one should strive for more. Then, in that conversation, Archie's mother asked Sophia to influence her son and help him to enroll in military school. Sophia promised. Knave. How knave she was. It was later that Archie opened her eyes to her father and mother. "Sophia, my dear Sophia, never tell my folks anything. Everything you talk about turns against you and me. When you come to us, they're like those Judas. They get into your soul. And when you leave, they start nagging me, saying I'm dating the wrong girl. In their eyes, you are the daughter of an alcoholic and a hysterical mother. And since you were brought up in such a family, you yourself are hysterical. In fact, after all these conversations, you'd better not come to our house. Then, when you leave, my parents are ready to saw me into 1,000 pieces, just so we don't see each other again." In the evenings, on the bench where dominoes played during the day, young people gathered, and there Archie saw Sophia for the first time, quiet and not very sociable. If the other girls tried to show off in front of the new guy, Sophia stood out because she was mostly silent, and if she said anything, her face was flushed. A fat boy, her brother, would often run up to her, hug her, whisper something in her ear, and when it got dark, Sophia would take the boy's hand and they would go home. If with other girls Archie behaved easily, panabratically, but in front of Sophia was timid. After a week of acquaintance with the yard youth, he plucked up courage. He approached Sophia and invited her to the movies. It was immediately obvious that she did not expect the attention of such a prominent, handsome guy. She was embarrassed, blushed, and could not believe her ears and asked again, "Me to the movies? You're inviting me?" "Yes, I am. Shall we go? They say it's an interesting movie and I'd like to see it with you." When the movie started, Archie took Sophia's hand and wouldn't let go, but Sophia was so excited that she didn't really watch the movie. No, she was watching the screen, of course, but she was overwhelmed by the excitement of Archie's hand touching her, the kind of excitement that made her unable to absorb the movie. She was kept away by emotions she hadn't felt before. She was in love with Archie. She realized it as soon as she saw him for the first time, but she couldn't even hope for his attention. It was her first and she hoped, her only love. Since then, Archie and Sophia had hardly ever parted, always together, always Archie holding her hand, as if he was afraid that if he let go, another guy would take his place. Was he jealous of her? No, he wasn't jealous. There was no reason to be, but the excitement of losing Sophia never left him. Never had Archie smelled of alcohol like the other guys. He didn't even drink beer, and for that Sophia respected him. Love and respect at the same time, two feelings she had for Archie, and was as happy as she had ever been. Sophia had seen her father drunk since childhood, so she was grateful to fate for meeting Archie. Soon, very soon, Archie would return and they would never part again. Sophia's workday started early at 7 in the morning, so she had to leave the house 40 minutes earlier. It was good that the canteen where Sophia worked was half an hour's walk from home, no need for transportation, but it was scary to walk through the park in the early morning, so she had to go around the park. With its cool breath, the fall has already touched the nature and the mornings are not as bright as in summer, so it's a little sad. But all this gloom in Sophia's soul overrides the joy of the soon meeting with Archie. He should be back any day now, but for some reason Archie did not specify the exact date in his letters, so Sophia waited for him every day. Sock, sock, the sound of Sophia's boot heels. It's morning, it's quiet, and it seems like the whole neighborhood can hear her going to work. There are almost no people on the street at this time, rarely meet a passerby, and suddenly she heard, "Slivka, Slivka, is that you?" On the opposite side of the street, Archie was walking. She recognized him by his voice. "It's me," Sophia shouted, and they ran towards each other. "Stay there," Archie shouted to her, ran across the road, grabbed Sophia in a wrap and kissed her. Sophia was crying and Archie kept kissing her tear-wet face. "Why are you crying, Slivka, my dear Sophia, my girl? Here I am, next to you, don't cry." She couldn't stop crying. "It's from happiness, from joy," Sophia said. "It's like an Archie movie." We walked on opposite sides of the street. It was dark, but we recognized each other. "I recognize you in any darkness," whispered Archie, not letting her out of his arms. They got a nerve. They heard next to them, and they're already making out in the morning. What kind of young people are these days? A woman walked past them. Sophia and Archie laughed. Nothing could mar their meeting. "And you what?" almost croaked. The letters came often, and Sophia and Archie's love grew stronger day by day. But today it was like this. Turns out she should run away from the one she loved, not to be. From that day on, Sophia decided to walk through the park in another side alley. She did not want to see Jack, who with his note, wanted to take away from her the most important thing in her life, the love for Archie. "You're offended," said Jack. "Now Betty, Sophia's going to be the 10th way around us. It's you rascal, who gave the girl such a fate." Betty fussed, searching Jack's hair for something. No, my little girl," Jack soothed the monkey. "It's not your fault that Sophia got such a fate. It's not for you and me to decide the fate of people. We can only give little hints that can affect their fate." Sophia was glad that for a whole month, Harry was sent to a pioneer camp. At least not for long, but Donna will have a break from their home psychosis, and she will be able to take care of herself alone. For this month, she went to live with her grandmother and her father and mother. Let them kill each other. They say it's a sin to think about it, but sometimes she wished they were dead. Because of Donut. She what? She's an adult, 19 years old in a month, and Harry is at a tender age, and his psyche is already crippled. For Sophia, this month was also a gift, because she loved her grandmother. The chef of the canteen where Sophia worked used to give Grandma buns, so flavorful and homemade, and Sophia could see how happy Grandma was at the attention. She would carefully take the bun out of the bag, bring it to her face, close her eyes, and inhale its aroma. "It smells of happiness," said her grandmother. "Thank you, Sophia, and God grant health and many years of life to the one who bakes this happiness." Sophia smiled at her grandmother's words, and at those moments she was happy together with her grandmother. For her grandmother, bread and pastry always smelled of happiness, and Sophia knows why. Difficult, hungry years of war fell to the share of grandmother, and in those years, to breathe in the aroma of bread and then eat it, it was happiness. Now, when Granny felt the spirit of the bun and called it happiness, Sophia suddenly remembered the words of Jack, not the apostle, but the violinist. He said that it is impossible to be happy all the time. Happiness is moments to which we then return, and once we experience it, we strive for it. And the Merchant of Destinies is not so wrong, Sophia thought. Happiness is a moment, a spark that ignites us, and we are ready to burn in the fire of this beautiful worldview. But it seems impossible. It's a pity. When Archie returned from his enlistment, they would immediately apply for a marriage license and get married. He wrote to her that as soon as they were near each other, he would rent an apartment and they would live together until the wedding. And she, Sophia, did not need the wedding at all. She was ready to live with Archie without any wedding. The wedding is necessary for parents, guests, and she does not care, only if Archie was near, Archie and Harry, but only about the fact that Donut lived together with them. She has not yet talked to her favorite, but Sophia was sure that Archie loves her brother and will allow Harry to live with them. How happy they would be, how happy they would be. Sophia smiled at her dreams. And Harry will be like all the boys, walking around, happy, not shaking with fear and not flinching from screaming. Sophia is sure they'll be happy, but that's later, when her beloved returns. Archie immediately, on the second day after their family moved to a new home for military personnel, noticed a beautiful girl in their yard. Her father had been transferred to this city and had served here for the last 2 years before he retired, teaching at an aviation school. Tonight, Sophia would walk through the park down the main avenue, and if Fiddler Jack was there peddling his fortune, she would tell him how happy she was. She hoped Jack wouldn't miss the last warm days and end up in his old place. Sophia wanted to tell the world how happy she was with Archie, and even more so with Jack. It's been a week since Archie rented the apartment, and now he and Sophia are living together as a real family. Their wedding and registration is in a month, but Sophia is happy without a wedding. The only person she's worried about is Donut. When she started talking to Archie about Harry, about having her brother live with them, her lover was surprised by it. "Why, Sophia? Why drag the negativity of the past into our new life? Harry has parents. They'll take care of him, and we'll probably have a child of our own soon, and we'll have to take care of him." "Don't get me wrong, Archie. I'm always worried about Harry. I kept him safe from parental scandals, and now he's without me." "What are you talking about? He's a future man and nothing will happen to him. He'll toughen up and come out a real man. Don't go around him like a lamb and make a weakling out of him. You're a girl, you grew up with your parents, and you're all right. You're quite independent, clever, and he'll grow up." "Archie, Harry's psyche is already broken," Sophia tried to explain. "Enough," Archie said sharply. It was the first time he had ever spoken to Sophia like that. Sophia was even confused. "Enough, and that's the end of it." I said, "No. You and I have our lives, and Harry has his, and that's the end of this conversation, and don't come near me again. Besides, what makes you think your parents are gonna go along with your crazy plans?" "Sophia, it's not serious. Children should live with their parents." Then as Sophia felt like a traitor, she had betrayed Harry. Archie had wanted it that way. And then her cloudless happiness was a little clouded with doubts, but only a little. Otherwise, Archie loved her, and she loved him very much. Sophia sat down on the bench as before, opposite the fate seller. She was a little embarrassed in front of Jack, because all this time she had been avoiding seeing him. "Sophia," Jack shouted, and Betty fidgeted on his shoulder. Sophia got up from the bench and walked over to the fate merchant. "Hello, Jack," smiled the girl. "What, have you taken offense to Betty and me?" Sophia didn't answer the question. She smiled and said, "And I missed you. Winter is coming and I won't see you until spring, so I thought I'd come visit. How's Betty doing?" "Betty's doing well. And how is the beautiful girl with the beautiful name of Sophia?" "If you only knew how happy I am, Jack. Archie and I are getting married, but we already live together. We love each other. So the fate that Betty gave me, I guess it's not mine. It's someone else's fate." God willing that it wasn't your destiny," Jack said, smiling. But he couldn't hide the sad look from Sophia. "But life is long and short at the same time, girl. As they say, life will stretch out. Everything will come to you. I wish that in your life, Sophia, more good and less bad." "I will always and everything will be fine," said Sophia confidently. "Do you know how much I have suffered since childhood? After a gray, cold downpour, we are warmed by the gentle sun, and in my life, the sun has risen and I am warm under its rays." "Rains are not so rare," Jack said, "so girl, be ready for everything in this life and try to live it happily. It depends on us too." "And you, are you happy? You don't play violin in your orchestra. Did it depend on you?" "Yes, my fate was reversed, but I still play the violin and I found the strength to be happy again. Not drunk, like many musicians of our former orchestra, but against all odds I am happy." "And what is your happiness?" "You have to stand here and peddle your fortunes." "Yeah, well, I'm happy with that. Right now, there's a lot of smiles, people around me, and Betty and I are happy that we're not alone in this world. It may be people passing by us, it may be that they stop by us for a few minutes, but we are not discouraged. Isn't that right, Betty?" He turned to the monkey. Betty fussed, confirming the fiddler's words. "Do you have a family?" For some reason, Sophia wanted to confront Jack about something. It seemed to her that only a happy man could trade in destinies, and Jack was not worthy of predicting people's fates, because it was obvious that he was lonely and therefore unhappy. He had a family. Now his wife and son live in America. They've abandoned you? How can you be happy without a family? "No, they asked me to come with them, but I can't live there. I'm a stranger there and everything is a stranger to me. Tell me, girl, have you seen many happy families in your life?" asked the fate merchant. Sophia smiled, then thought for a moment, trying to remember one family she knew, where everyone was happy and satisfied with their lives, and couldn't remember. Even in her and Archie's family, there's a but, and that but is her little brother Harry, who she worries about all the time and only because Archie doesn't want Donut to live with them. "That's the same thing," summarized Jack, "and Betty and I are happy. I'll tell you, Sophia, animals are much more loyal and understand humans better than other people who not only don't understand each other, don't even try to understand." Again, that non-apostle Jack is right, Sophia thought. Archie didn't even try to understand how worried she was about Donut. He just said no, and that was it. And he didn't even think about how Sophia would live with that. "In the spring, you will again trade fate." Sophia turned the conversation to another topic. "Of course we will. Betty and I enjoy it. It was one thing to date Archie and quite another to live together." Sophia had a lot on her mind besides work. For some reason, Sophia had more than Archie. If she asked him for help, he waved her away like a pesky fly. "Sophia, I've been under so much stress all day. It's not like cooking borscht. Not paying attention on the road can lead to that, you know, not a little girl. All these household chores, that's a woman's duty. But I work too. I'm on my feet all day. I get tired." "What about other women? Do they come home from resorts? They work too, and they have time for everything. Don't talk to me about it anymore. You do your womanly work yourself. My mother, with 3 men in the house, did everything herself. But it's hard for me now." Sophia tried to pity her husband. "I feel nauseous all the time, weak." "It's nothing. You are not the first pregnant, and you will not be the last." Pity her, Archie. Earlier, women in the field gave birth and then worked. But now they have taken the fashion to men to help them. Should I give birth for you too? The longer Sophia lived with Archie, the more she was convinced of Jack's words. She was not heard by her beloved, fallen out of love. "Don't you love me anymore?" Sophia looked into her husband's eyes. "I don't recognize you, Archie." "Of course I do." "Sophia, what do you mean?" "I don't recognize you. I'm the same. You're the one who's different." The hormones of pregnant women change, so you're picking on everything. He hugged Sophia and tried to calm her down. But for some reason she was uneasy. It was not how she imagined her life with Archie, to which he said to her, "Sophia, you can't sit around hugging and kissing all the time. Family life is not a moonlight meeting, not like it was when we lived with our mothers and fathers." "I think we're drifting apart," Sophia said. "Don't fuck with me," Archie shouted. "I'm tired at work. Give me something to eat." Sophia went to heat up dinner. She cried silently, knowing that her tears would anger Archie, who had once slapped her for crying and failing to stop when he demanded it. That slap had been the end of her hopes for a happy life with Archie, but she thought when the baby came, they would definitely be happy. When the baby came, it would be a real family and Sophia would have one. What she misses now is not Apostle Jack. Granny will not complain. She is sick. Poor thing. I pity her. Her parents never needed her. But Jack, she really needs Jack now. I wish it was spring. Sophia was afraid of Archie. She both loved him and feared him, so she was completely subordinate to him. But sometimes her whole gut protested against the dictates of her husband. But it was only for a while, or rather until the next slap she received from her husband. She often thought back to that fateful note from Jack. But at the time, she couldn't believe that the love she had with Archie could be so transformed. After Archie allowed himself to hit Sophia, he felt remorse for a while and for a short time became the same Archie, attentive, affectionate, loving, and in Sophia's heart returned hope that everything will get better and everything will be fine. In March, her grandmother fell ill and became very ill. Her strength left her and she was melting before her eyes. After work, Sophia would go to her grandmother's house, wash her, change her diapers, feed her, and come home late. "Your grandmother has a daughter, your mother, she should take care of her, and you should meet me from work, feed me dinner, and not go out." "Archie, Mom comes in the morning and I come in the evening. That's the deal with her." "You made a deal with me?" shouted Archie. "Who's your family?" "Mom and Grandma, or me?" "But they're my family too." Sophia tried to resist her husband's cries. "They need help." "Archie, the food's always ready. You just have to heat it up." "How hard can it be?" "Difficult? I don't want to eat reheated food. I want to eat freshly cooked food." "You won't go to your grandmother's house anymore. Let your mother-in-law move in with her and take care of her. And in general, you wash shit with your hands after your grandmother and then cook food for me. I'm disgusted." "But I'm wearing gloves to wash my grandmother, and then we all have a duty to our relatives." "You have a duty to me. I told you not to go to your grandmother." Sophia was silent. She realized that Archie was on the edge. A little more and he would hit her. And yet, Sophia disobeyed her husband. The next day after work, she went to her grandmother. If she had known what her visit to her grandmother would cost her, if she had only known, she would have. She wouldn't have gone to Grandma's. No, she would have gone to her anyway. Sophia was taking off her shoes in the hallway when Archie silently walked up to her and hit her on the head. Not on the cheek, but on the head. It was so unexpected. Sophia didn't even realize what had happened, because for a while she lost consciousness and woke up from the blows her husband was kicking her. "Get up, bitch!" Archie shouted, "Get up, or I'm not responsible for me." Sophia tried to get up, covering her stomach from the blows, but Archie kept hitting her, because so he couldn't hit her in the stomach. She lay face down on the floor and made no further attempt to get up. Finally, he got tired and panting with anger walked to the kitchen. "Get up," he shouted to Sophia. "Get up and go feed your husband." He heard the front door slam and realized that Sophia had run away. He jumped out of the apartment and chased after his wife, but he was stopped by a man, behind whose back Sophia was hiding. Help me, she whispered. "He's going to kill me." "Don't be afraid," the man said calmly. "Usually those who beat women are cowards. He won't dare touch you." Archie rushed to his wife, but the man stopped him with a punch to the face. Archie didn't expect this. His eyes turned white with anger. He clenched his fist to retaliate against Sophia's protector. But the man said threateningly, "One more step you make and I'll drop you, freak." Archie stopped, apparently weighing his options against the imposing figure of the stranger, and threatening Sophia, decided to retreat. "Don't come home. I'll destroy you," Archie said through gritted teeth. "Is this your husband?" the man asked. "Husband? wiping the tears and the blood that was sore from the split eyebrow, said Sophia. Terrible, the man stated. You can't go home. You can't live with a man like that. Sooner or later, it will turn tragic. Think about it. Do you have somewhere to go? Yes, I'm going to my grandmother's, but there's no transportation, only cabs. You can lend me money. I'll pay you back. Just leave me your address. I'm asking you to believe me. I won't be able to go home for the money, I'm afraid. I believe you, said the man. Even if you don't return the money, I won't be poor. I will, assured Sophia. Please call me a cab. I was terrified. I didn't think to grab my bag. I didn't have time for that. Fear overrode all my thoughts. The man called a cab, paid for it, and Sophia went to her grandmother. As long as she rode in the cab, she cried all the time. The cab driver looked anxiously at Sophia and couldn't stand it and asked, "Are you in grief, girl?" "I have grief," cried Sophia, but she did not want to tell about her grief. She needs Jack. It's a pity she doesn't know where he lives, or she would go to him now to find out how to live her life further, what she should do. "Who's there?" Grandma asked, frightened. "It's me, Grandma." "Don't worry," Sophia said. "What's wrong, Sophia? Why so late?" "It's all right. Don't worry. Go to sleep. It's just that Mom won't be able to come in the morning, and in general, I'll stay at your place for now, Grandma." "Does Archie mind?" "Archie doesn't mind. Go to sleep, my dear." My whole body ached and ached. My cheek was bruised. My eyebrow was split. My back and legs were bruised, and it hurt to breathe. Must be a broken rib, Sophia thought and cried. She cried not from pain, but from resentment, from the collapse of hopes and disbelief in love. If after what she and Archie had, this is what happens, there is probably no love. It's only in the movies that love conquers all adversity, but in life, love turns into adversity. She cried till morning. In the morning, she called her mother not to come to her grandmother, and to recover from the pain, she took 3 days off work. Sophia was afraid that Archie might show up at her grandmother's apartment, so she decided that if he showed up, she would call the police. Archie wasn't there. Apparently, he'd had an epiphany and realized what he'd done, so he didn't show his face to Sophia. The keys to her and Archie's apartment were in her coat pocket, and the next day, when her husband went to work, she was able to come and get her things. The first thing she saw when she entered the hallway was his blood on the floor. He hadn't even wiped the blood off the floor, stomping on it. She cried, putting her things into bags, then carried them out to the entryway where Harry was waiting for her. "Watch the bags, Harry," Sophia told her brother. "I'm going to go pay off a debt to a good man." The door was opened by a girl of about 11 and looked at Sophia questioningly. "Hello, my name is Sophia. I was given your address by a man. I don't know his name. He helped me," Sophia said. "Hello, Daddy is at work," answered the girl and smiled. "Daddy's name is Sam. He is like that. He is fair and will always help if he sees that a person needs help." "It is good that there are people like your daddy," said Sophia. "Here is the money. Give it to Sam and tell him that I am very grateful to him. If it wasn't for him, terrible things could have happened." Selena, Sophia's mother, didn't ask why her daughter was living with her grandmother. "Lives, that's good. No need to run to the other side of town early in the morning, torn between home and mother. Sophia will cook and feed her grandmother and wash her." Harry, as soon as he found out that Sophia lives at his grandmother's, also moved to them. His mother in here was not against it. She is less trouble, fights only with her alcoholic husband, and he can and not cook. Sophia drops the money on the card on Harry, and that's it. Let them better live with their grandmother, nothing that in one room, but quietly. As soon as Sophia got married, Harry started stuttering from the scandals in the house. He goes to a speech therapist, but there's no improvement. Maybe with his grandmother and Sophia, he'll calm down and his speech will be restored. "Sophia," Grandma called her granddaughter, "I need to have a serious talk with you." Sophia came to her grandmother's bed, corrected her pillow and sat down next to her. "I see everything, Sophia. I see that there is no one and nowhere for you and Harry to lay your head. So I want to write off my apartment to you. Call a notary, but don't let your mother know or she'll squeeze my apartment out of me. I know after I die she'll curse me, but I don't care, let her curse me. I'll leave knowing that you and Harry will have your own corner. Don't leave him. You're hiding it from me, Sophia. But I've lived my life. I can see that you and Archie aren't getting along, and your mother doesn't need you and Harry. And you, Sophia, don't be like your mother. Don't put up with a bad life. It won't lead to anything good. It's better to raise a child alone than to live with a nervous husband. I will also ask, as I die, order that I was buried, and at least once in a while, go to church to put a candle for the repose of my soul. By the end of March, Granny was gone. Selena rushed to transfer her mother's apartment to herself and faced with unpleasant news for herself. It turns out that her mother made a gift to Sophia. Her indignation had no limit. "You've got your hands all over a sick old woman's apartment," Selena shouted. "I had plans for this apartment. I wanted to move here with Harry from that alcoholic, to live in peace, and you quietly cut off my mother's path." Sophia was silent, tears flowing on their own. Harry hugged his sister and stammered and shouted at his mother. "HX, stop. Don't yell. Sophia's having a baby. Don't yell at her." You found an advocate? The mother swore foully, so live together. "Harry, I'm your mother, not Sophia," Selena said angrily. "Come home, son, or you won't get any money from me." "Sophia," Harry turned to the sister. "Mom, can I stay with you? I'll help you." "Can I?" "Stay." "Of course you can stay, Donut," replied Sophia. "I'll see how you live on Sophia's measly salary," Selena shrieked and walked out, slamming the door loudly. With her grandmother's illness, with her death, with all the troubles and worries, the pain of Sophia's disappointed love had subsided a little. But at the same time, despite Archie's cruelty, she admitted to herself that she loved him and missed him. Selena showed up at her daughter and son's house a week after the scandal. When Sophia saw her mother, she expected to hear screaming and swearing, as Selena was accustomed to. But she was mistaken. Instead, her mother had brought 2 bags of groceries, new jeans for Harry, and a summer maternity sundress for Sophia, acting as if the tantrum she'd thrown last week hadn't happened. Her mother's visit frightened Sophia more than she would have been if she'd come in with a scandal. Sophia immediately suspected something was wrong. "How are you kids doing?" Selena began her rant. "Sophia, you've lost weight. You're not eating right. You're carrying a baby. You need to eat better." "I'm eating well and I'm gaining weight, so I'm fine." "How's school going, Harry?" She turned to her son. "Good, grades are good." Selena noted to herself that Harry had stopped stuttering, but she didn't focus on it. She hadn't come here to enjoy Sophia and Harry's life. She needed to talk some sense into her daughter so that she could go back to her husband and live a family life. And at the same time, she would vacate the apartment, and she, Selena, would move in and live with Harry. "Tea for your mother? Or am I just going to go home with nothing to eat?" Selena pressed her lips together resentfully. "We will," Selena's children answered almost in unison. "I see that everything is fine with you, but the only thing is that, Sophia, it is not proper to give birth to a child and raise it without a father," Selena said, sipping her tea. "What's the use that Harry and I grew up with a father and a mother from your scandals in the yards wandered," replied Sophia to her mother. Selena raised her right eyebrow in surprise. She didn't know Sophia like that. Always quiet, docile, Sophia had never reproached her and Harvey for anything, but now she had her own corner, and her voice had erupted, and she was so independent. Selena didn't like it, but she didn't seem surprised by her daughter's remarks. Taking short sips of hot tea, she continued her prepared speech. "I spent my whole life trying to keep our family together, and then, where were we to go, Sophia? You know, my father's apartment, and hanging around in rented corners. I did not have such means, and to this day do not have." Sophia was silent. She did not want to develop this topic. She knew that to contradict her mother to his own detriment, such a scandal will break out, a little will not seem. Sometimes it seemed to Sophia that her father was drunk because of her mother's unbearable character. Her father was a weak man. He was always silent when her mother was yelling. And sometimes her mother would take a plate in her hands, aim it at her father, and then she would smack it on the floor, splinters in all the corners. Harry and Sophia were more afraid of their mother's psychosis than of their quiet, drunken father. "Archie met in our courtyard. He was on his way to his parents," Selena continued. "We talked to him. He did not know that we buried my grandmother. Such a polite, handsome young man condoled with me. I don't understand what happened between you two. What is it that you decided to leave your child without a father? Why didn't you ask him, Mom? I wonder what he'd say." "I did. He said he's very sorry for what he did to you. He doesn't dare to come to you. He thinks you won't forgive him." Sophia was silent. She really wanted to believe that Archie repented, very much wanted to, because she loves him very much and misses him. "I'll tell you, my daughter, you have to be able to forgive each other. The sword does not cut the guilty head. It's hard to raise a child alone. As they say, with a fool is bad, and without a fool even worse. Get together with Archie and live. What's it to be a single mom from now on? It's not right. It's bad for a woman to be alone. Anyone can hurt her. It hurts more to be hurt by someone you love," Sophia said. "And then what Archie told you, he told you. He didn't come to me and apologize. And if he does, will you forgive him?" Sophia shrugged uncertainly, and Selena realized she would forgive. Archie waited for Sophia outside the dining room. He was worried, clenching and unclenching the hand in which he held a bouquet of roses for his wife, thereby stabbing his palm. Sophia's workday was over, but she didn't show up for some reason. But the door to the dining room opened. His wife came out with 2 women, and he tensed even more. "Sophia," Archie called out. Hearing the voice of his beloved, she shuddered and paused, and the women, seeing Sophia's husband with a bouquet, smiled understandingly and went their way. "Hi, these are for you." Archie handed Sophia the flowers. She took the roses, took them silently and eyed him warily. "Sophia, forgive me. I'm a fool. Forgive me. I beg you by Christ God. It won't happen again. I swear it won't. Do you believe me, Sophia? Why don't you say anything? Do you believe me?" Sophia didn't say a word. "If you want me to kneel down, I'm sorry." "No need to kneel," Sophia said. "The main thing is that you believe in what you're swearing now. I'm a man and I'll keep my word, believe me. I love you and I can't do without you." She really wanted to believe Archie, and she did. "Let's go home, Sophia." He put his arms around her and kissed her. She didn't resist the kiss, and he realized Sophia had forgiven. "My grandmother gave me her apartment." Sophia smiled. "Now we won't have to rent. Only Harry will live with us." "Sophia, I'm sorry, but you and I have our own house, even if it's rented. But I don't feel like a pramaca there. Let's just stay where we are." "Don't worry, darling. I'll buy a mortgage, and then maybe we'll sell Grandma's apartment. I can't live in a 1-bedroom with Harry." "What about it?" "What about Harry?" Sophia asked sadly. "You know, I talked to Selena and she wanted to live with Harry, so let them live there for a while, and then we'll see." Sophia and Archie were on their honeymoon, so loving, attentive, and affectionate. Archie was before the marriage and in the first month of their living together, and now it's a miracle. Love is the greatest miracle on earth, Sophia thought, and she did not regret that she forgave her husband. She is happy, and when a person is happy, he forgets about bad things. Only good things are ahead of them, and she is calm for Harry. Now her mother comes home in spurts, blows off steam at her father, and returns to Harry in a more or less stable mood. Sometimes it seems to Sophia that her mother can't imagine her life without scandals. It's as if she's energized by them. "Mom, why do you fight with your father? You don't live with them anymore. Why do you go there almost every day?" "I went and I will continue to go," Selena answered defiantly. "I want to keep the apartment, or your father will get together with some hot woman and our apartment will be in tears. I cook for him, so that others do not call to cook. I take the money on the day of the paycheck, drink everything can be. And then what to pay for the apartment? What does he have to cook with? If you take the money, what does he drink on?" Sophia wondered. "The pig will find dirt," sharply answered her mother. "Probably in the parking lot lets left cars, and those pay him for it. Isn't there any other way?" "No, my daughter, our business is, if not to increase our wealth, then at least to keep what we have. That's it, my dear." Sophia sometimes visited her father, not for long, afraid of Archie's reaction to her absence. She realized that she had to be home before her husband arrived and was already relaxed about it. But she felt sorry for her father, a father after all. "Daughter Sophia," cried the drunken father, "I'm so glad that you come. Harry often after school comes by. In the parking lot sometimes comes by. When I have money, I give it to him. Here, take this." The father handed his daughter a crumpled 500. "Take it, honey. That's all I got." "Don't, Dad, don't. I don't need it. Archie and I have everything we need. Don't need it." "Take it, please. I'll drink it anyway. But I need it for my soul. You're my children." My father cried and wasn't ashamed of his tears. "You and Harry don't forget me. I have no one but you." And I'm glad Tonya moved out. I'm just glad. I'm calmer now. I hid the plates so she wouldn't hit them. It's quieter now. Sophia feels sorry for her father. The way she talks to him now, she and her father never talked before. They never saw each other because of her mother's scandals. Was it their mother, her quarrelsome nature, that caused such a horrible life? Or was it the drunken father who drove her to it? It's not clear who's right and who's wrong. How complicated everything is in this life. So Sophia must fight for her family, so that she and Archie would not have such a life as her parents, so that their child would live in a quiet and peaceful environment and would not run away from home, as it was with them in Donut. Sophia sees Archie trying to be reserved. She sees, sometimes he loses his temper, but he is willing and able to beat the devil in him, and Sophia appreciates that. She also tries, less crosses her husband to a greater extent. The housework is on her, comes home before Archie, meets him, feeds him dinner. All is well with them. You can't think of anything better. Spring had finally beaten the snow and ice. Buds were blooming on the trees and people were out in the park. Probably Jack and Betty came out to the alley to trade fate. Sophia thought and smiled at her thoughts. Today after work, I'll walk down the main alley of the park. I'd like to meet Jack to talk. It seemed like a stranger, this violinist, but for some reason Sophia was drawn to him. No one had ever spoken to her so openly, so wisely, and not the Apostle Jack. Or was it the Apostle? It seemed to her that God himself had sent her this man, so Sophia considered Jack her personal apostle. He wasn't an apostle to anyone else, but to her he was a real apostle. Granny had told her that nothing in this life could happen without God's will, so her meeting with the fortune teller was God's will. And then, when Archie beat her up, was that also God's will? A lot of questions piled up for Sophia, and she wanted to discuss them with Jack. Sophia was upset. There was no Jack in the main alley of the park. Jack probably doesn't stay out long, she thought. It's still pretty fresh, and it's getting dark early. Archie works Saturday, and she has the day off. To meet Jack, she decided to take a walk in the park on Saturday afternoon, because she needed to get out more often. As long as Jack and Betty were well, as long as they were alive and well, they would meet. She didn't meet Jack, but she did meet Sam in the yard. Sophia recognized him at once, though she had been shocked and frightened that night. But she remembered the face of her advocate. Her memory for faces was always excellent. Sam, on the other hand, didn't recognize her at all. "Good evening," Sophia greeted Sam. He looked at her with interest, but it was clear he didn't recognize her. And how could he recognize her? After all, that night Sophia was very different from the frightened, hunted look of a hunted animal. Half of her face was blue, and her eyebrow was split. Sam tilted his head to the left, smiling and trying to remember who this pregnant girl was and where he'd seen her. "Don't you remember?" Sophia smiled. "Did your daughter give you the money for the cab?" "I brought the debt, but you weren't here." Is that you?" "I didn't recognize you." "You'll be rich," Sam joked. "You don't have to pay back the debt. It's not a big sum." "I wanted to thank you again, Sam, but I couldn't. You weren't home." "You can thank me now," he smiled. Sophia was embarrassed and blushed. Just kidding, Sam said. "And you, Sophia?" "And you, Sophia, are you on the same rake again? Or am I wrong?" Sophia blushed even deeper. "What do you care what kind of rake I'm on?" For some reason, Sophia got angry. "I, in principle, do not care about your rake. I feel sorry for you and your future child." Sam pointed his eyes at Sophia's belly. "Why are you, Sophia, so reckless, so not proud? You're trampled, you're beaten, and you cling?" Horror. This is a complete stranger talking to her. How can he? How dare he? It was as if Sam had heard what she was thinking. "I can and I dare," Sam said, "because I know how family life ends. I've seen it." "You wonder where I've seen it?" Sophia was silent. She was afraid to think. It seemed to her that Sam saw through her. "I'm on the police force, so I've seen a lot." "I know," Sam sighed. "You're not supposed to scare pregnant women, but I want to scare you now. I want you to realize the reality you're living in. He'll kill you, Sophia. At best, he'll cripple you. And maybe that's even worse, because he'll cripple you so badly that you'll never get back on your feet again. Or your rake will knock the mind out of your head, and you'll end up in a mental institution. And where will your child be? Have you thought about that? I suggest you do. Sam didn't say another word. He walked toward his driveway and without turning around, waved to Sophia. Sophia remained standing in the middle of the yard. She did not want to believe Sam's words, but for some reason she believed them. This double feeling in everything became a frequent guest of Sonia's consciousness, so Sophia's companion became doubt, and she wanted to be sure. It is impossible to live and doubt the person you love. Where is her seventh sense, which God gave to women? Or does he not give such a gift to everyone? Sophia very much needs this gift. She is now responsible not only for her life, but also for the life of her child. Strangely enough, when Sophia got home, Archie was already home. She was afraid that now there would be a scandal, so she began to justify herself. I'm on time. You're the one who came early today. I have everything ready. I made dumplings and froze them. I'll boil them. The car's broken down. It's been fixed since Monday, Archie said. He was looking at Sophia strangely, and she was afraid of his gaze. A chill ran down her spine. She was short of air. She was changing into her robe and Archie was standing there staring at her. Who was that guy you were talking to in the yard? He asked. Sophia didn't know what to say. It was just a friend. The first thing that came to mind, she said and went to the kitchen. Or leave in silence. Go into hiding? No, that won't work. He'll find her and it'll be worse. Worse than it was on that terrible day. It probably won't be any worse, so he has to make up his mind and tell her. Archie came home from work in a good mood. He told Sophia something about work, but she didn't hear him. She had one thing on her mind: how to tell Archie that she was leaving him. How to tell him. She's decided to go live with her father. She doesn't want to compete with her mother for the apartment. If she leaves on the sly, Archie will find her there, and he might catch her at work, and then it'll be even worse. Sophia, what's wrong? Archie asked. I'm talking to you, and you're not responding, as if you're not here, as if you're floating somewhere in the clouds. I need to tell you. It's important, began Sophia, stammering. I'm leaving you. What? Oh. Archie didn't let her finish, clearly not expecting this turn of events. What did you say? Or did I mishear? Archie, you have to understand, our family, this is a mistake. How dare she say that to him? Archie was changing before his eyes. His blue eyes turned white with anger, his fist clenched and unclenched. Sophia got up from the couch, wanting to go into the hallway, get dressed and leave, picking up her things later. Her father or Harry would help her. She didn't have much of them. She turned her back to her husband and he grabbed her by the hair. Are you playing games with me, you bitch? Where are you going? Where are they waiting for you? Is this the man you... I'll stay with Sophia, said Harry. I'll come myself. Suit yourself, Selena said angrily. How's Dad? Sophia asked to lighten the mood. As always, in the same performance, said her mother. He wanted to come to you. I told him not to disgrace you by showing up with a drunken face. If you need anything, Sophia, you call me. Either me or Harry will bring it to you. Thanks, Mom, Sophia replied. The last thing she wanted to do right now was fight with anyone, but it was almost impossible with her mom. After 2 weeks in the hospital, Sophia returned home. Archie had been carrying her around in his arms, and she was over the moon. Her sick leave was extended for a week, and Sophia was happy about it. She could organize a general cleaning of the apartment. Of course, her arm hurts, but not critically, because while her stomach is small, she will be able to bring the apartment in proper order. And then, both she and the child need fresh air. And where else but in the park is this air? At last, the real spring weather had returned, when I wanted to be outside more than at home. Last year, just about this time, she'd met Jack. Most likely, the trading of fortunes is in full swing, and today, she's sure to meet the fiddler and his girlfriend, Betty. Who is it that's come to see us? Jack smiled at Sophia. Betty fussed, clapped her hands. That's right, Betty. It's a beautiful girl with a beautiful name, Sophia. And Betty and I have missed you, Sophia. And I missed you very much. Sophia smiled and hugged Jack. Betty fussed even more, jumped into Sophia's arms and hugged her. Recognize, said Jack. Betty has a good memory again. She missed socializing with people over the winter. I was worried I might not see you. Sophia confessed. I came in and you weren't there. I thought maybe you had gone to America to see your wife and son. We're Americans, aren't we, Betty? The violinist turned to his girlfriend. especially Betty, laughed Sophia. Well, Betty has been living here for a long time, so we can make her a monkey. How nice and pleasant it is for Sophia to talk and joke with Jack. With the appearance of the violinist, it's like she's breathed a breath of fresh spring air that makes her feel real feelings. How easy it is with good people, easy and joyful. And we are not greedy. We do not work in the cold, said the merchant of fortunes. BT, like me, is not so young, so we take care of our health. We are afraid she'd be doing fine. Sophia was silent. She was afraid to admit to Jack that in a short period of time, she had lived a whole life. What had happened in those 6 months that had turned her whole idea of love, of family life, of everything? In 6 months, she had matured, but not hardened, but weaker than she had been before. But Jack didn't need to be told. He could see that Sophia was cornered. She knew her place, her sad eyes, slumped shoulders, hopelessness in every movement, insecurity. Before, Sophia had been willing to bet that their love with Archie was 1 in a million, but now, nothing. She said it in such a way that Jack realized that behind that word was not an emptiness. There was an abyss into which Sophia was being pushed, and she was balancing on the... Sophia hated and feared him. He had killed their baby. It was such a shock to her, and Sam had warned her to think about the baby. No baby, no one to think about but herself. He could kill her just like that. Did he beat you up? Grandma asked with a bruise halfway down her face. No, not him, Sophia said fearfully. I don't know. I don't remember. The other 2 women in the ward looked at Sophia with pity and shook their heads disapprovingly. He's a bitch, he is, said the old woman confidently. I can see such people from afar. My son is like that. He beat me up, demanded money for vodka, but I didn't have any. He sucked my whole pension, demanded my coffin money, and I didn't give it back here. Now I'm lying with a concussion. How can I give it back? What am I going to bury me with? I told my neighbor where the money is, she'll bury me. An investigator will come to see you. What are you going to say, girl? Are you going to cover for him? He killed his child, and he'll kill you someday. Sophia didn't say a word, but Grandma probably wanted to talk. A policeman came to see me too, and asked me what was going on. I told him I'd fallen into the basement. I couldn't give up my son. He's my blood. I felt sorry for him. Who's your son? Son? Brother? Father? He's nothing. He's your torturer. He killed your child. It's horrible. You should confess to the investigator. Sophia had no answer for the unhappy old woman's tirade. She felt sorry for her grandmother, her son beating her. What's the world coming to? A native son beats his mother? What can we say about her? Will you deny that you were beaten by your husband? The investigator asked. How is it that you don't remember what happened to you? You remember everything, Sophia, but for some reason you're covering up the crime. It's a crime, and you can go to jail for it. Could. Sophia thought, what if they don't? Then Archie will destroy her. No, we can't confess. I don't remember anything, Sophia repeated. Well, no, you don't. No is no, as they say. But there would have been a trial. Then goodbye, Sophia. I hope you have made conclusions for yourself, and we will not meet again. I have, Sophia replied. I hope we won't meet again. That's a girl, you foolish, said the old woman, that your husband will realize that you did not report him out of fear. Now he will hold power over you. And so maybe he would have had his tail tucked, and he would have thought that there would be strength for his strength. After lunch, after 10 days in the hospital, Sophia received a discharge and returned home to her father. Dad, I'm coming home for good. Is that okay with you? Sophia brought her things in bags, and her drunken father stared at her without understanding. No, I don't mind, he answered confusedly. What's wrong, Sophia? His gaze fell on his daughter's flat belly. He stopped talking and ran out into the entryway to get the rest of his daughter's things. What happened, Dad? I didn't want to tell you and Mom. I called you, told you everything was fine, but nothing good. I came straight from the hospital to you. He beat me up, Dad, so much so that I lost the baby. Daughter, my father rushed to Sophia, hugged her and took her to her room. It's terrible what you're saying now. How do you beat a person? A pregnant woman? Was he drunk? He doesn't drink, Dad. You know that. It's not the first time he's beaten me up, but I thought he'd make it up to me. He promised me he wouldn't do it again. It didn't last long. It happened again. It's good you left him. I'm glad you came to me. It means I'm still good for something. Does your mother know you're here? No, she doesn't. I'm not ready to listen to her talk about how I'm so bad and it's all my fault. It's always everybody's fault. Oh well, she'll find out. She'll find out when the audit comes. Make yourself comfortable, Sophia. 2 rooms are available. I'm in the hall. There's a TV. Thank you, Dad. Thank you. But Sophia, my place is not very clean, smiled my father, as well as all men. It's okay, Dad. I'll clean it up. I've got groceries. I brought them. If you want, cook something. There's chicken and fish in the freezer, and I only have borscht. Don't worry, Dad. I don't have time to eat now. No, Sophia, I need to eat. I need to get better after the hospital. Do you want something? I'll run to the store. I want coffee and cheese. Coffee's on the table, instant, but I'll run to the store for cheese. I got $10. What kind do you want? Dad was fussing. Any kind, Dad. Her father was so happy. Sophia never remembered him like that. He often hugged her, comforted her. You'll have everything, Sophia. It's good that you got rid of Archie in time, and I'm glad you came to me. Where else am I gonna go, Daddy? You got the apartment from your grandmother. Dad, you know how to deal with our mom. Let her and Harry live there, and I'll stay with you. I feel better that way. That's right, that's right. Don't touch it, as they say. It won't stink. Sophia and Dad laughed, and then the doorbell rang. Are you expecting someone, Dad? Sophia asked fearfully. No, I'm not. Maybe Mother came. She has her own key. That's true, Harvey said, confused, but no one ever comes to my house like that. I don't know who it could be. It could be Archie. I'm scared. Dad, I'm scared. He's called me several times. I haven't answered. He's looking for me. It's him. I'm sure of it. The doorbell rang once more, and there was a persistent knock. Harvey got up, went to the door, and looked through the peephole. Don't open, Daddy, Sophia whispered fearfully. I'm sure it's him. I'm just going to look, Sophia. Harvey leaned against the door. There was more banging on the door, and they heard Archie's voice. Open up nicely. Sophia shook her head negatively, signaling her father not to open the door. If you don't, it'll be worse, Archie shouted through the door. Sophia, it's better for you if you open up now. I'll hunt you bitch down anyway, and I'll rip your head off. I'll call the police, Harvey shouted to his son-in-law. You go away nicely. Sophia and I will file a report on you. Threats, harassment, you're not gonna get away with this. What harassment? She's my wife and she has to be with me. Open up, I said. Harvey heard the neighbor's voice. If you don't shut up and get out of here, I'll throw you down the stairs. Apparently, the neighbor was talking to his son-in-law because Billy had had enough of Archie's yelling and had gone out to clean up the mess. None of your business. Shut the door on the other side, Archie snapped at him. None of my business? The neighbor asked, and without another word, he walked up to Archie and smacked him between the eyes, then grabbed him by the scruff of the neck and threw him down the stairs. If I hear you yapping again, it'll be worse, the neighbor threatened, and went back into his apartment. Harvey watched through the peephole. He will not come here again, said his father confidently. You know, Sophia, with our neighbor Billy, jokes are bad. He is a... Father did not talk about the neighbor. He saw Sophia crying and trembling with fear. Daughter, he's gone. Don't be afraid. My father rushed to calm her down. He won't come here now. Calm down. Why are you pounding so much? Harvey wrapped his daughter in a blanket and brought hot tea. Have some hot tea. Have some hot tea, Sophia. Dad, he'll pick me up from work. Sipping hot tea and shuddering at every sip, Sophia said. I'll meet you. Don't be afraid. What can you do? Do you know what he's like when he gets angry? Tomorrow, Sophia, as soon as we wake up, we'll go to the police and file a report on him for his threats and harassment. I was gonna file for divorce tomorrow. You'll file for a divorce too. I'll come back from my shift in the morning. We'll go together. I'll walk with you, accompany you. You're going out tonight? Sophia was scared. I'll be here alone. Daddy, can I come with you? He won't come here. Billy did his best, my father reassured her. I have such a gatehouse there. I can barely fit in alone. If anything, call Billy. He'll be fine. I'll drop you his phone number and everything will be fine. And you, Sophia, eat and go to bed. We got a busy day tomorrow. To go to the authorities, it takes strength and nerves. And what nerves? Sophia calmed down a little. Her father went on duty, and she tried to sleep. She didn't fall asleep for a long time, listened to the sounds outside the front door, replayed in her head their short life together with Archie, and realized that she was so afraid of him, as she had never been afraid of anyone. She was covered in sticky sweat from fear, 1,000 hammers pounding in her head. It was completely dark outside the window, and that made Sophia even more afraid. She turned on the lights in the whole apartment and unnoticeably fell asleep. Early in the morning, she was awakened by a scraping in the door lock. Sophia jumped out of bed like a scalded woman and hid behind the closet. She heard her mother's voice and the sound of the door closing. "He's gone to work." "What a bastard. He turned on the lights in the whole apartment and left." "I don't know who," Selena shouted at the top of her voice. "You burned more light in one night than you earned in the whole night, you alcoholic bastard." Sophia breathed a sigh of relief and smiled to herself. Her mother had obviously come here to blow off steam. Just stepped over the threshold. She's already yelling like a mad woman. "Hey, Mom." Sophia came out of hiding. Oh my God, Sophia, you scared me." Selena sat down on the couch and, clutching her heart, ordered, "Turn off the lights." "Why are you burning for nothing? What are you doing here so early in the morning? Did you clean the apartment?" "I did. I left Archie. I'm going to live here." "What do you mean, you left? What do you mean? Do I have to vacate Grandma's apartment?" Selena was scared. "Mom, you don't have to vacate. Live there with Donut, and I'll live here with Dad." Her mother sighed with relief, but still insisted on answering the question. "I left Archie. I came to my dad from the hospital. He beat me up and I lost the baby." Only now Selena saw her daughter's belly was gone. "He killed our baby. What are you waiting for, Mom? That doesn't sound like Archie. Maybe you drove him to it." "Mom, so it's not like him, but I'm the kind of person who does." "What are you talking about? What's the kind of drive that gets you kicked to the curb?" Selena got quiet. Then after about 3 minutes, she said, "Well, nothing, maybe Sophia. Everything will get better. In the family, everything happens. I'm not going to fix anything." "Mom, do you hear yourself? He's beating me up. He killed our child, and you're trying to fix it. I'm filing for divorce today. He came here last night, threatening me. Good thing Billy, our neighbor, kicked him out, or he'd break down the door to get at me. Said he was gonna rip my head off anyway." "Sophia, you can't take words so literally. I threatened to kill my father so many times, and he's living like a sweetheart. Don't be in such a hurry to file for divorce, because I know people who get divorced in a hurry and then get married again, making people laugh." "Never, Mom. I'll never be with him." "Since when did you become so proud? You're so torn up." These words, never and always, forget about them. You won't need them in your life. "Come on, Mom. I don't need your advice. Thank God there are people I trust more than you." "What people? Some kind of envious people? Or are you in some kind of cult?" "I've fallen into Archie's addiction. I've fallen into his bondage." Wow, laughed Selena. "What words you're throwing around, just like in some soap opera." Sophia didn't say anything to her mother. She knew that she was going to start yelling. She went into the room where she was sitting and closed the door tightly. "Why are you shutting yourself off from your mother?" Selena yelled. "I'm still in my apartment, and don't slam the door in my face." "Then let me out of my apartment," Sophia said calmly. Selena instantly quieted down. "If you come here and yell, you come back here, Mom, and I'll go to my apartment. Is that okay with you? If you're okay with that, welcome home." "Enough talking, enough," more calmly said the mother. "I have to go to work." "What are you going to report?" asked the police officer on duty. "Did you get beaten up? Were you killed? Was something stolen from you?" "No," the duty officer said to himself. "Then what are you going to report?" "But he's stalking me, threatening me," answered Sophia. "I confirm. Harvey backed up his daughter. He came by yesterday, not threatened." "Repin's the eternal painting of come," said the duty officer. "He said he threatened. What exactly did he do? What do we have to wait for him to do anything?" Sophia asked. "He's your husband, and therefore, just because he said something to you, no one will take a statement from you. So, dear girl, deal with your husband amicably and do not distract from work. And when something happens, call the police, write a report, and now, I'm not detaining you. Goodbye." "Well, they're unprotected," said Sophia. Leaving the police station, Dad, I need to kill me, my head off, then we'll call the police. What do we do? We'll think of something, Sophia. We'll think of something. Dad, as they say, there's no substitute for a crowbar, and for you and me, Archie is that crowbar. But Billy fought him back though. We can't go to Billy about everything, can we? What's he want, Dad? Yeah, agreed Dad. Hello, Jack, Sophia smiled. Sophia, our beautiful hello. How are you? How's your health? Where's your assistant? Sophia wondered, where's Betty? My Betty is ill, Jack answered, but he had tears in his eyes. Is it serious? Sophia was worried. I hope not. We went to the vet, had an ultrasound, and it didn't look like anything. Probably something she ate, an intestinal upset. They're giving her all kinds of treats here, so maybe we should ban treats. God forbid anything happens to Betty. I'll be dead without her. I'll die of loneliness. She's like a child to me. Jack tried to hold back the tears, but they just kept coming. Of course, Betty will be all right. Sophia hurried to calm the violinist. Can I help you? I can. It's no trouble at all. Do you know how to make rice kreisel? Jack asked. I have not cooked, but I think I can. We'll look it up on the internet and make it, said Sophia. How long are you going to work? What's work without Betty? And then my mind is at home with my little girl. I just need the money. We're exhausted for the winter, and the prices at the veterinary clinic are through the roof. I don't live far from here. It's a 7-minute walk, Jack said. I'm glad you came to see me today, Sophia. I was getting a little scared without someone to support me. But you told me that everything was going to be all right and that Betty was going to be fine, and I believed you and I was relieved. Well, she was going to Jack with her fears, and he's going through a bad time, and he's just as human as she is, and he's scared too. Betty tried to show delight at the arrival of the owner and Sophia, but instantly she got down. Her eyes were so pitiful, like a sick child. Sophia took the monkey in her arms and realized that Betty had weakened. She didn't have that tenacity, that energy. My sweetie, Sophia stroked her head, and she laid her head on Sophia's shoulder like a baby and just kept quiet. She's dehydrated, Jack said, and we don't have any money and we don't have anyone to get it from. I'll help, said Sophia. I have money. How much do you need? Take it from me. I don't know, Sophia, when I can give it to you. You don't have to give it to me. I'm happy to help you. You've helped me and others have helped me in my time of need. She suddenly remembered Sam's help. Would you like me to stay with you for a while? I'm on sick leave for the rest of the week. That would be good, Jack replied. I could work in peace without worrying about Betty, how she's here alone, and I could earn and pay you back, Sophia. And you? Why are you on sick leave? I noticed in the park. What's wrong with the baby, Sophia? Is it that bad? It's a long conversation, Jack. Now, I'll call the vet, get Betty on a drip, make some rice kreisel and run home. Let Dad know I'm staying with you and get some things. You're a sweet savior. Jack smiled and wept. God sent you to us. And to me, Jack, God sent you. Betty fell asleep after the drip, and Jack and Sophia talked for a long time. Sophia told the violinist everything about her life with Archie. Poor girl, Jack said, frowning. I should have listened to the note. Sometimes, in one way or another, we get clues from above, but we often dismiss them, thinking that everything in this life depends on us. Everything, but not everything. Well, what's done is done. Now we've got to get Archie off your back. I realize the only way to stop people like him is with force. Where do you look for protection, Sophia? I mean, me and your father. What defense are we against a strong, young, angry man? Why don't you come live with me permanently and change your job so he won't find you? I thought about it, but then if I hide, he'll look for me until he finds me. You're right about that, Sophia. Oh no, I call my daughter Marfa because her name is Stella. Stella is the name of a whim of my ex-wife, but I'm closer to Marfa. Marfa is a sweetheart, laughed Sam, and there was so much warmth in his voice that the guests smiled at their host. Is Stella okay with the name Marfa? Sophia asked. She's more creative than her mother, so for her, Martha is the oil. She loves the name and introduces herself as Marfa to everyone. She said she would change her name when she gets her passport, but almost no one knows her as Stella. But enough about me, let's hear from you. I need your protection. Straightforwardly expressed Sophia. You can certainly refuse. Say contact the appropriate authorities, but Sam, there I turned to no avail. Another rake? Sam asked. Yeah, I filed for divorce, but he's stalking me, threatening me. Any advice? I don't know what to do. I'm afraid of him. He beat me so bad I lost my baby. I was in the hospital. What else can I expect? I don't know. You need a bodyguard, Sam said seriously, and a smile danced at the corners of his lips, ready to burst out. Did you mean it? Sophia darted her eyes around in fear. Yes, I am. Do you have one? If I did, would I have come to you? I don't have that kind of money to have a personal bodyguard. I can get you a free bodyguard, Sam laughed. What's so funny? Sophia took offense. Young man, Jack interjected, do you feel like laughing at a man's fear? Then I'm sorry, we've come to the wrong place for help. Come on, Sophia. Jack stood up from the couch, inviting Sophia to leave. Wait, sit down, Mr. Jack. I just wanted to diffuse the tension, that's all. I wanted Sophia to relax. I apologize. Sophia, would you be willing to take me on as a bodyguard? A free bodyguard? You? I couldn't even dream of that. And you'd be able to pick me up and drop me off at work? Yes, I can. But you'll be at work. I have a job where I can be away at any time because I'm working. But let's not talk about my job. How about it? Are you okay with Sophia using me for peaceful purposes? Sam was smiling. Of course I do. I have to work from Monday, but I have to be early. I work as a cook. It's okay. I'm used to getting up early. I will come to your house by car, throw the address on my phone and the time to which you have to work, and I will be at your feet, Sophia. Laughed Sam and winked at Jack. But only let's exchange phone numbers. Sophia, do you like this, Sam? Jack asked when Sophia's new bodyguard drove them to Jack's house, and they got out of the car. I hope he'll protect me. He stood up for me once and gave me money for a cab. He's trustworthy. That's not what I mean. Do you like him as a man? What? Sophia doesn't understand. He likes you. I can tell you that as a man. He likes you, and that's why he wants to protect you. So do you, Jack. He's a grown man. He's a police officer. What about me? And you're Sophia, a beautiful, modest girl, the likes of which are few and far between. You just don't know anything about yourself. Nobody told you. I'm telling you, you're not only beautiful. There are many beautiful and young girls, but you're kind, heartfelt, modest. You're a treasure, Sophia, and grown-up Sam understands that. Realizes that you can make a man happy and be happy yourself. I want so much to believe that I can be happy. I want to be happy and give happiness to others. Sophia smiled dreamily, but Sam had nothing to do with it. Yes, it is, Jack thought, but he said aloud, You'll be fine, Sophia. Trust me, you'll be fine. Betty greeted them with loud cheers, and they realized Jack's girlfriend was almost well. Look how happy we are, smiled happy Jack. And it's all you, Sophia. You helped my baby and me. Jack hugged Sophia and wept. Thank you, my girl. You're like a daughter to me. And those aren't just sentimental Jack's words. They're from the heart, Sophia. I love you too. Betty cried out loudly and jumped into Sophia's arms. We love you and you love us, you little rascal. You scared Jack and me. Don't get sick again. How dare she file for divorce? Archie was furious when he opened the registered letter on Saturday. It was a subpoena. He was ready to smash and break everything in his way. But at the same time, he realized that the furniture in the apartment was someone else's, the owner's, and he would have to pay for it if he broke it. So he got dressed and went outside. He immediately went to Sophia's mother. She has influence over that fool. That's when she persuaded her to come back to him. Yes, he met his wife with flowers, but before that she and her mother had a conversation and his mother-in-law called him and gave him the go-ahead to bring his wife back, that she was ready to forgive him. Now he needs Selena's help. He can't get through to Sophia. On Monday, he will meet her from work, but before Monday is almost 2 days, he very much need to discharge the accumulated anger. He needs an ally, and that's where Sophia's mother comes in. Archie banged and banged on his mother-in-law's door, but no one answered. What went through his head? Probably anger, not to call. Maybe they're not home. Probably not. So Selena would have opened the door. He dialed his mother-in-law's phone number and heard the phone's buzzer sound in the apartment. You bet, she thought. It won't open. He started banging on the door with his feet and yelling, Open up, I need to talk to you. An old man came out of the apartment across the hall. "Young man, what's all this noise? Elderly people live here. Many of them have small children, and you're making a mess." "Grandpa, shut the door, or I'm not responsible for myself." "I won't. I'm in my own house. Who are you?" "None of your business." Archie pushed the old man into his apartment door, closed the door behind him, and continued to yell and bang on Selena's door. The old man's apartment door opened again and a young guy came out, subtle, with glasses, pure nerd. "What are you doing, asshole?" said the kid. "Did you handle the old man?" "He fell down. He got a lump on his head. His blood pressure's up." "Shut the door and keep your mouth shut," said Archie. "Mind your grandfather's business or you'll get it." "What's that?" "I'll get in trouble." Goggles walked up to the troublemaker. The troublemaker clenched his fist and swung at the guy. Nerd grabbed Archie's arm with his fist coming at him and wrapped it behind his back. "Ouch," he shrieked. "Let go." "No, you've been caught. Little dove, you'll have to answer for everything. The police are on their way." Archie tried to free himself from the nerd, but he immediately pressed on some painful point of the intruder. Archie cried out in pain and could not resist the bespectacled man. Two policemen were coming up the stairs, followed by Selena and Harry. "What's going on here, Max?" Selena turned to the glasses man. "I pushed my grandfather. He hit his head. His blood pressure's skyrocketing, so I called an ambulance and the police." "He's my son-in-law. Let him go, Max," Selena asked. "I won't let him go. A son-in-law is not a son-in-law, but he'll have to answer for everything." "Will you write a statement?" The policeman turned to the bespectacled man. "That's what you were called for," said Max. "You have to answer for your actions according to the law." "Take the offender to the car," the policeman, apparently senior in rank, commanded, "and I'll take care of the report." "Archie, how can you do this?" Selena asked, confused. "You have to take your cell phone with you." The son-in-law glared at Selena. Then the ambulance came for the old man, measured his blood pressure, examined his head, said that grandfather needs hospitalization because it is unknown. Maybe he has a concussion, and maybe even worse, at the age of blood vessels are weak, fragile. The policeman recorded all this in Max's statement and left saying, "Keep us posted on Tony's condition. Looks like he's going to jail." "Don't doubt, I won't leave it like that," Max promised. "Maxka, who wouldn't?" Selena spoke to the nerd in a pleading tone when the police took her son-in-law away. "Why so harshly? Can't you take back the statement?" "He can't," Max replied sternly. "Who doesn't? You're crazy. With normal people such things do not happen, and this son-in-law of yours freak. Do not put Celine, neither me nor yourself, in an uncomfortable position. Do not ask. There will be no mercy." Max left and Selena had no choice but to go home. "Mom, why are you asking for him?" Harry asked. "He beat up Sophia. He's throwing himself at old people." "I don't understand you." "You don't understand, so don't say anything." Your mother shouted. "You're too young to teach your mother. You don't know how to live. You live in peace and live. If Sophia divorces him, she'll come to live here." "Where are we going?" "To your alcoholic father." "So, if you want us to have a good time, you'll let that bastard kill everyone." "Shut up and shut up." Selena was angry. "For the goat, let him spin the drum and get the fortune monkey," the lady commanded. Beatty jumped on the drum, spun it, and pulled out a gray ticket. "Gray fate," the aunt said angrily. "Gray he was, gray he will remain." She took the ticket and read it. "What is this nonsense?" said the lady indignantly. "That's bullshit." "What's it say?" Jack was curious. "It's all bullshit. Don't look back or you'll fall and never get up. Go only forward, and then fate will give you incredible happiness. And this to a goat who doesn't deserve any happiness. Be kinder," Jack reminded his aunt. She gave him a hateful look, threw the crumpled gray ticket at the monkey, and walked away. "How can you not believe my tickets?" Jack said. Fate gave her a clue. Be kinder. And she still has poison dripping from her tongue. "Why don't you come up to me and Betty?" he said to Sophia. "It's time we met. I'm Jack." "And what's your name, pretty lady?" Sophia answered the girl, and she blushed. "That's a beautiful name. Sophia means wise. And the name is beautiful, and you are beautiful, my child. But why don't you bypass old Jack and try your luck?" "I'm afraid," Sophia confessed. "I'm in a great place, you know." Sometimes I can't believe people can be as happy as I am. Then why should you be afraid if fate favors you? I'll tell you a secret, dear girl Sophia. A person can't always be happy. There are happy moments that we remember, and then we live them. Strive for what we have already experienced, but often aspirations are in vain. Duh? That's so sad. Why so sad? Sophia asked. I will hope you are wrong, Jack. What's your middle name? Just Jack. Apostle Jack is not called by his patronymic, so I don't have to be. But you're not an apostle, Sophia smiled, or are you? I don't know who I am. I used to be a violinist in the orchestra, and now I'm trading in fate. Smile, Jack. I'm giving you fate, Sophia, for free. It's a gift from me and Betty, so try your luck. Take a ticket. Betty, spin the drum, ordered Jack to the monkey, and spin it so that for Sophia this gift really turned out to be a gift. Well, Sophia opened a window in the drum, Jack. Welcome to destiny. I have $1. Here, take it. The girl held out the money. I told you it was a gift. I'm afraid to torture fate. Let Betty give me a ticket. The monkey took out a ticket, jumped on Sophia's shoulder, and handed her a green envelope. Sophia unfolded the piece of paper and read, Run from the man who for today, the most important in your life, for trouble, and without him rainbow happiness ahead, peace of mind and confidence in tomorrow. Sophia shuddered and flung the ticket away as if it were a poisonous snake about to burrow into her. I wasn't afraid for nothing, she grieved. It wasn't true. Everything in the note isn't true. You don't realize how much we love each other, how happy we are. I'll never, you hear me, Jack? I'll never run away from Archie. A love like ours is 1 in a million. Spring and summer will pass, fall will come, and he'll be back from the army, and I'll be waiting for him. Do you understand? Tears came to Sophia's eyes. She spoke angrily and sharply to Jack. People paused and watched what was happening. From the outside, you could think that the father and daughter something to find out, so no one interfered in the conversation between Jack and Sophia. Quietly, my girl, quietly, Jack put his arm around Sophia and stroked her head. She snuggled her face into his chest and cried. Her thin shoulders shuddered and Jack continued to whisper, Don't cry, Sophia. It's just a paper fate, a $1 fate. Everything's gonna be all right. You don't know anything, sobbed Sophia. I don't know, agreed Jack. He poured tea from the thermos into a mug and handed it to Sophia. Here, drink this, baby, and everything will go away. It's peppermint tea with lemon. It's so soothing and refreshing. Sophia drank the tea in short sips and shuddered. Thank you for the tea. She handed Jack the empty mug. I have to go home. Goodbye. Goodbye, sweet child, Jack said sadly. I'm sorry I upset you. It's not true, is it? Sophia asked with hope in her voice. Let's hope it's not true, Jack replied. I won't shut up, replied Harry, shutting up your father and Sophia. Maybe Dad's drinking because you're yelling all the time. Look at the way he and Sophia are talking. You raise kids with no respect for their mother. You have to respect others to be respected, Harry said, looking his mother in the eye. Selena swung around and slapped her son across the face. I won't stay with you for a day, cried Harry and rushed to the closet to gather his things. Live alone. I'll go to my father and Sophia. Son, Selena tried to hug and comfort Harry. Don't come at me with your tenderness, cried Harry. I don't believe you. You are a cunning deceiver. Harry didn't pick up his things. He grabbed his phone and ran out of the house. When Sophia came home on Sunday morning, Donut was sleeping on her bed, sleeping so soundly that he didn't hear her come in. Soon father will come from night duty. Sophia made pancakes, and at the smell of them, a sleepy Harry came into the kitchen. What a delicious smell, Sophia, he said, stretching and hugging his sister. What are you doing here? What's wrong? Oh, Sophia, yesterday it was so. Will there be cocoa? Donut grabbed a pancake and was already eating it. Here's cocoa for you, smiled her sister and put the chocolate-scented drink on the table. Archie was picked up by the police yesterday. He hit Nanny's grandfather, and Max called the police, wrote a report, and now he's in prison, behind bars, smiled Donut. You can live in peace for now. But only my grandfather is a pity. We don't know what happened to him. The ambulance took him away. What are you doing? Sophia said almost in a whisper. Did you get the old man? Well, yes, did not know that jerk. That Max Karate will not give grandfather an offense. Mom asked Max to take out a statement on vodka, and he said he'd never take them. Finally, Sophia sighed. He's finally got a handle on him. I'm so scared of him, Harry. Who are you afraid of? Dad came into the kitchen. Dad, Archie was taken to jail, Donut announced solemnly and once again told his father everything in detail. And the mother that is completely out of her mind to stand up for him. I can't believe it. She's ready to bury her own, but she stands up for this bastard, a fucking advocate. She's afraid Sophia's gonna ask her to leave the apartment, Harry said. For your sake, my family, I won't, we'll live together, we'll be safer. A key turned in the apartment door and an angry Celine ran into the kitchen. You're washing my bones. Harry, come on, let's go home. What are you doing here with an alcoholic? Selena waved her head in her husband's direction. You'll become an alcoholic just like him. I'd rather go crazy from your screaming, Harry replied. I'm not going anywhere with you. I want to stay with Dad and Sophia. Mom, leave Harry alone and let him live with us, said Sophia. She walked down the street, choking back tears of anger and resentment toward her children. She had raised them and they didn't want to see her. They even took away her house key. She had a family, even if her husband was an alcoholic, whatever children. And now she's alone. She has no one? The kids chose an alcoholic father. Selena didn't understand why it happened. Good afternoon, Sam. Sophia called the bodyguard. Hello, Sam answered. What do you need security for now? No, we don't. I'll tell you what, Archie was taken to the police yesterday, so I don't need to be escorted tomorrow. Thank you. You're welcome, Sam replied. I'm sorry you don't need a bodyguard. I'd be happy to guard you and I'm glad I won't be distracting you from your work. You know what? Sam said, I need you to meet me right away and tell me everything. And then I need to know if your husband's coming home. You know what happens? No, I don't. What if they let him go? All sorts of things happen. But if we have to, let's meet, Sophia agreed. On this occasion, we should have a drink, said Sam. After listening to Sophia, what do you think? No, I don't drink, answered Sophia. Just coffee or tea. And she took a sip of coffee from a cup. Who drinks? I don't drink either. We'll just celebrate your husband's successful conclusion and seal our agreement. Waiter, called Sam, we'll have champagne, boxed chocolates, and fruit, please. But the contract is over, said Sophia. I don't need to be guarded for now. That's for now, and then we'll see, so we can't lose each other. Well, to our joint venture. Sam raised his glass. What venture? Asked Sophia, clinking her glass with Sam's. Joint venture. And what does it mean? I do not understand you, Sam. Because, dear Sophia, I intend to court you and I declared openly. What do you mean, courting? Sophia didn't see that coming. Like a man courting a woman. A woman came into the cafe with flowers, offering the men to buy them for their companions. I'll take them all, Sam said to the woman. Sam took the flowers and presented them to Sophia. That's a lot, Sophia smiled. Waiter, please put the flowers in a vase, Sam asked. Thank you, Sophia smiled. I'm so pleased. And no one has ever given me flowers, only a bouquet at my wedding. I'll give you flowers, Sophia, Sam said. I like to give flowers to women, especially women I really like. The ones you like. How many are there? Sophia looked at Sam slyly. Not many, Mom, Marfa, and now you, Sophia. I'm married yet, she blushed. Do you still consider him a husband? But we're not officially divorced yet, she said, as if to justify herself. You're still a child, not a spoiled child. And Sam hugged Sophia. He looked at her like that, and she realized Sam wouldn't hurt her or let anyone hurt her. It's all so sudden, Sophia said. And love is always unexpected. It's like that song, you know. Love comes unexpectedly when you're not expecting it.